I'm probably gonna.
Hey guys, hold on.
I might brush my splits next year and put queens in them. That way the honey. You know what I mean? So
This year,
don't have to miss that.
right? Yeah. No, you won't rush it, but you will do it early for sure.
Now,
Earlier than we did.
I have queen houses built too.
Uh-huh.
Queen houses with, you know how I've got my little feeder box set up on it.
Uh-huh.
So it's just one deep. Would it need to go any deeper than that in a queen house? It should just be one bottom with 3 frames, and then it's got the empty box built up on the top where you can put a jar on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you definitely want to make sure that you got overabundance of resources.
Yeah. So, and I've got those built. I've got 2 of those refinished that I got from the honey guy down the road. So I've got next spring too. If we did find some queen cells or something, we could use a couple of those.
Perfect.
And flop around the yard. And
well, we're doing great. Okay, so real quick. Hey guys, welcome to Facebook Live. As you can tell, Derek and I have not gotten on each other's nerves yet, so we are still hanging out, working bees together, having he's having a much better time than I am apparently. But we are having a great time. I knocked that off. We are discussing queens today. Now, we are at the bee yard for just some routine maintenance. So there's nothing really fancy going on, but we figured we would have our discussion about queens while we do our routine. And we decided to invite you guys along for that. So, welcome to the discussion. We are talking about queens. At this point, Derek was talking about queen boxes for next year when we're coming into the spring. I'm going to say it again. We've talked about it before. When you are a beekeeper, and I'm sure there are other industries out there that are similar to this. Oh, I certainly started the fire. Okay, whew. All right. I'm sure there are other industries out there, but I'm speaking about beekeeping for sure. When you are a beekeeper, you are almost always preparing for 2 seasons out. In the wintertime, you are preparing for fall, really, because you've spent the fall preparing for spring. You've spent the spring preparing for winter. You've spent the summer preparing for... Anyway, you get it. So, we're talking about how are we going to increase our numbers next year. And Derek, you were just talking about your queen boxes. Walk us through that. What's a queen box? And what good does that do you?
It's a little small box with a 3-frame setup where you can put some nurse bees and maybe some queen cells next spring that they try to swarm. If you can catch them when they're trying to build the queen cells, put those in there. And I've got them built with a feeder top where we can put resources on them, and so we can start a small colony off of those new queens, or let those nurse bees make us some new queens off of those cells.
Now, how do those...
Or you can even put your grafts in there, correct? Couldn't you even put your grafts in a 3-frame box like
Hey,
that?
man, you're the beekeeper. I just got started. You tell me. Yeah. So, yes, you can. So those are basically they're nurseries, and that's exactly what you do. Nursery. So we are going to be grafting. I talked to you about that. For certain, my dad, myself, and Garrett are going to be grafting from our colonies.
Okay.
This is a really cool concept, guys. It's pretty advanced beekeeping type stuff, so we love doing it. Even though year before last was my first and so far only year doing it, it's cool stuff. But with the grafting, what you do is you find the appropriate size larva.
Correct.
You use a tool. Chinese grafting tool is the one that we use. There are several different grafting tool types out there. We like that one. But you use that grafting tool. You'll pull the larva out. You put it in what's called a queen cup. The ones that we use are plastic, and you put that in there. The bees will come, and we're going to do that 20 each. 10 of our Italian, 10 of our Carnica each. So we're going to start in the nurseries with total of 60 grafted larvae.
Okay. Yeah.
Not all of those are going to take.
Correct.
And some of those are going to be too small for what we want. Right. And so we're not going to utilize those particular queens. So we're expecting... My dad tends to be a little bit more hopeful than I am. I tend to be, kind of linger on the conservative side of how things are going to go. But we're expecting anywhere between 30 and 50% success rate.
Nice.
Which would be really awesome for our queens. And so we'll go into that. But those 3-frame nooks are going to be, for what we've got, those are going to be real handy with that. Yes, we'll put a group of queen cells in there, just overloaded with nurse bees that are queenless. And they're going to just load it up. We're going to give them pollen. We're going to give them the honey, the syrup, and they are just going to build that royal jelly up, and they're going to raise those queens to be real strong, big, and healthy. And so, yeah, that's how you would do that. Yeah. So, hey, Alex, the reason I'm doing this Facebook Live and the reason that I actually got Derek started with me talking about queens today is because you contacted me yesterday and informed me that I missed a question from you. Would you please go ahead and give me that question as soon as you get a chance in the comments, and then we will respond to that. This is going to ultimately end up on YouTube, so for those of you watching from YouTube, please understand that right now I'm on a Facebook Live. I'm responding to questions as they come in, and so I will read the question out loud so that you in YouTube land will know what's going on. I won't laugh at your loss. Okay, so in the meantime, while we're doing that, we are going to go ahead and get started on this hive, and we're going to add the Swiffer sheet, correct?
Correct.
Is that what you brought?
Yeah.
All right, I hadn't smoked yet, so I'm going to go ahead and smoke now. All right, so the question is, does every box have a queen? So by box, we are referring to the individual hives. Every box specifically, no, does not have a queen. For instance, let me see if I can angle this. This hive has 2 boxes on it, what we call supers. Each of those boxes do not have a queen. Each one of the hives in our bee yard does have a queen. So 3, 6, 9, 10, 14, 15, 16. There are 16 total hives in this bee yard right now. That means that there are 16 actively working queens. I guess I should pretend like I'm here to help you, huh? Sorry, my bad.
There are rare occasions, it's way out of the norm, that I've seen recently that it's very, very, very out of the ordinary.
It's very rare, especially in nature. It's a little bit more common where we, the beekeepers, work our hives. Yes, what Derek is touching on right there is that there are rare cases where a queen or a hive will have multiple queens active at the same time. Do you want to cut that down? Because what we do is just put, I tend to cut it in half and then spread it out flat. Do you need a, here, I got a knife. I grew up in Shepherdsville, man. You know I got a knife. Okay, so anyway, back to the question. So there are cases that happen organically where there are multiple queens living in the same hive. However, that just means they have not come across each other yet, because once they do, they are going to fight to the death. The individual bees are not going to interfere with that initially. Once a clear victor has been decided, then the workers are then going to get involved, and they will go after the clear loser. Okay? Have you had 2 in one box, and if so, did they fight? Okay, well, there you go. If we have had 2 in one box, we aren't necessarily aware of that. I've never, in 35, 40 years of beekeeping, I have not come across a situation where I had 2 active queens that I am aware of. I may have. Now, during the season, like we were just talking about, we're doing grafting. In some cases, if you're not paying real close attention to your timing, sometimes 1 or more queen, 2 or more queens will hatch simultaneously. They will then find each other, ultimately find each other, and they will kill each other. First, okay, so...
Extra.
Jesus, man. I was not taking the Lord's name in vain. I was, in fact, praying for my friend Derek, who is a bit extra.
Extra.
Yeah. But if that doesn't, if that doesn't get your damn hive beetles, nothing's going. Yeah. So, hive beetles, schmive beetles. You know.
Get rid of these dang things.
Okay.
I don't play around.
No, that's hysterical. All right, so let's see. There we go. We'll get some bees in the background there for you. How's that?
Help us up here. I'm gonna go ahead and touch these.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Appreciate it.
So how do you run?
That's my cheesecake knife. You know, in case I'm ever in a dark alley or pumping gas late at night, and I have to cut some cheesecake down. Yep. That's my cheesecake knife. Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta have one. Sitting there. Felt like
All right.
I needed that.
So anyway.
Are we waiting on the question for the how to do two in one or no?
Are we doing what?
How do you do?
Oh, okay. So
is
we'll
there
get
a way to combine two hives and make one really strong hive with two queens without them killing each other?
Yes. Okay. So real quick, Alex also asked, so do the other bees eat the queen, or what happens to it? Her.
I know the answer.
Okay. So
I know the answer.
with honeybees, we're okay with you. I probably shouldn't say this, so I'm going to totally say it. With honeybees, we're totally okay with using the correct pronouns. Anyway, I'm going to have to fire myself. No, that's not a lock knife. That's a fixed blade. Yeah.
Hey, I see.
Oof, I am standing right in the flight path like I have never raised honeybees before in my life. I know, right? You got your hive tool?
Yeah.
Okay, so the question is, do they eat each other? No, the queens will not eat each other, or the other bees will not eat the queen. What they will do, though, is tear her wings off. Once a clear victor has been decided, they will tear her wings off and throw her out of the hive, or they'll sting her to death, and she's dead, and then they don't have to worry about her flying back in. But one way or the other, she is expelled from the hive in such a way as they do not have to worry about her return.
Yeah.
Derek, in question, back to the question of multiple queens in the same hive. Derek, well, okay, you say, "Oh Lord, poor bee," and to some degree, yeah, sure. I don't technically disagree with you, but one of the things that we have to remember about honeybees is that they are incredibly efficient creatures, and where efficiency is concerned, especially at this level of efficiency, where efficiency is concerned, feelings are not a factor. For those of you who've ever done any work with me, you may have noticed that I've picked up some bee traits. One of them is feelings they don't tend to be a factor.
In the natural space, I'm not sure a space for a hive being a natural tree or box, is it? Two queens in a hive that are laying very strong.
It's just too much.
I don't think anything could keep up.
Nothing
can.
That's exactly right.
That's probably why the nature works out that way. Because if you have multiple queen cells, that first cell that hatches out, she's going to come out, and her first number one goal is to go and kill any other queen cell and destroy it. And if there's a queen in there already laying, she is not in that mode.
Right.
She's just doing her job of laying. She's out of that.
That's right.
That fresh new queen will also seek out and attack that queen that is already in there, because she is in that mode of making this hive hers in number one. But it's because it's natural. It's survival of the fittest.
Well, and you also got to think, I mean, in nature with other creatures, predators, when they hunt, they usually take out the incredibly young, the sick, and the incredibly old, right? So they weed that out. And what he's talking about is the younger, most viable queen. All things considered, she would technically be the most viable, or at least she should be the most viable. She will be the one that is going to be able to have more eggs to lay. She will be able to have more sperm to be able to fertilize said eggs, because the older queen, she's already laid hers.
Yes.
So natural selection, they take out the weaker link. Yeah. So
throughout time.
Yeah. Also, Alex said the Ghostbuster is talking. All right, let's go. We got that hive open, so let's go ahead. I'm gonna put this right here and get right back into the flight path again. Can I use that as my costume for Halloween this year? He's a little bit more your size, so you know you have to talk to him. Mine's going to be a bit too big for you. Okay, so but what Derek had mentioned earlier is, wow! I just found a vine. I found a hole, and this whole bee yard is trying to kill me today. All right. I did not say that you were short. I said that I am fat. See, there is a difference. However, if either of you have to duck under cabinets or ceiling fans, let me know. Until then, yeah, I'll probably take that one too. So anyway, one of the things that Derek was asking about is there a way to have two queens in the same hive at the same time? As beekeepers, those of us who know bees and frankly how to manipulate their hive system, yes, there are several ways to raise a hive with two queens. One of them is the, what was it? You were talking about it earlier, so why don't you tell us about it? The queen, it was the, oh shoot, now I actually did forget what it's called.
It's when you run a spacer board and
yeah, the queen,
the two hives within a queen excluder.
Yes. Okay, so yes, you take two queen. So does that still operate on the two queen excluders? That system, or is it actually
or you can make a spacer board. A lot of people have. They make spacer boards for that, and it allows the worker bees to come through, but it keeps a space for the two queens not to get close enough to.
So it's not exactly a queen excluder.
Not exactly.
Okay.
I think there's ways to put a space in between a queen excluder and do
yes.
the same.
All right, and so for those of you who don't know, the queen excluder is basically just framework. Have we not done that, Alex? I'm sorry. I've got some poured up. I don't have a ton, but I do have some set aside for you, so I'll get you taken care of. I'll get it jarred up. But the queen excluder is basically just this wired grid frame. Huh?
Breezy today.
It is breezy today. It's a wired grid. You put that on your super, on top of your super, and the queen. It's too. The wires are close enough together that it's too thin for the queen to walk through, but it's large enough, the space, for the workers to get through. I have used them in the past. I've shown them on video. Feel free to head on over to Buzzin' Blossoms Bee Farm on YouTube. If you have not already, you should follow me there because, you know, I'm pretty awesome. And but you can find that video there. Look for it. If you can't find it, ask me, and I'll get you tagged in it so that that'll make it easier to find. But that's after, of course, you've liked and followed me, right? Yeah, give to get, right? So anyway, but so the queen excluder is one of those things, and then the separator that Derek was talking about is basically it's a spacer between the supers here that will allow the bees to get through. Same kind of concept. It allows the bees to get through, but the queens can't get to each other. Right. The big thing that you need to remember.
That brought up a question for me.
Okay, give me the big thing you need to remember is that if you're going to raise a two queen system, you need to keep the queens separated. If you are a beekeeper and you are interested in the two queen system, one of the things that you want to keep in mind is that studies have shown, we just recently came back from a bee conference in Bowling Green, it was a month ago or so. We just came back and studies are showing that your optimal level when it comes to raising bees is about 60,000 bees in per colony. Too few and you don't have enough foragers. Too many and they're consuming what they're producing. So 60,000 gives you enough nurse bees to be able to take care of the young and produce enough foragers to be able to bring back food. Alex, I see your question. Give me just a second. You said that you brought up a thought.
Now when you do that and you put the spacer in, So the queens try to attack each other, but sometimes don't the worker bees try to attack each other as well?
If you do it from two different, like if you combined two hives and you didn't remove one of the queens, yes, generally speaking, these sisters from one mama are going to be aggressive towards the sisters from another mama, and so yeah, you
but
can
I've seen
in fact
it done. So there's got to be somehow there's a process. There's got to be
yeah.
a process.
You can do it in rare cases, like if you have a situation like we've come across a queenless hive and we've done a combo that way.
Maybe yeah.
And so you can do that.
Good.
Now, what we were going to do a combo today. We ultimately decided not to because when we got into the hives, we realized no. Both queens are laying. They just had not been laying, but now they are. And actually, we had a lot of brood in both, so we're about to have an explosion. However, what we were doing was we were looking for the queen in our chosen colony, and we were going to dispatch that queen so that there would only be one queen alive. The other one would be given some time to become queenless, to realize that they're queenless. And you know what? I'm going to get out of her flight path, I guess. I keep acting like she's getting in my way, but no. I am in her flight path. She's trying to get back to the house. So anyway, one of them would have been queenless. We would have combined the two of them. But we had also brought out parchment paper to put in between. By the time they chew through that, their scents have united.
No.
Okay.
So that's what I wondered with the parchment paper could even work on something like that.
Yes, parchment paper works just fine with that.
If you're doing two queens that way, though, the queen isn't coming out of there, so it wouldn't do any good to do the parchment paper.
It wouldn't do any good to do the parchment paper because then because they'll chew through the parchment paper, and the two queens will find each other. All right. So how long does the queen live? Under normal natural situations, queens can live anywhere between 3 to 5 years. A worker bee can live approximately 6 weeks. Although there are some studies out there concerning hemp oil extract, correct?
Yes.
Hemp oil extract and honeybee longevity. There's some studies out there that are suggesting that the hemp oil extract can actually add an additional 17-ish days to the life expectancy of a worker bee, which then would mean that there's some life expectancy extension on the queen bee as well, because that would affect her food quality as well.
Yeah.
So there are studies out there. I personally am a big proponent, or at least I'm a bit of a believer. Frankly, I'm looking at Derek's hives compared to ours this season. He's got a lot more bees. Now, I don't know about the longevity. We haven't done any of the research on our own, but he does have some extremely strong hives. He's been able to use the extract, and I can't say that I don't, because that's the other thing is that this time of year, he still has a couple of beehives that are what we call bearding. Let me come around to the front and see if I can show you. Oh, shit. Of course they're not. Oh, shoot. Watch your mouth. Of course they're not bearding now. But you can look down at the entrance of each of those hives. When we talk about bearding, what we mean is that there are a group of bees, a large group of bees, will come out and hang out on those entrances. They'll come out onto the porch. They'll hang down below like a beard. They'll come up onto the walls. They'll just hang instead of being inside the hive. What they're doing is regulating the temperature, or they're indicating that it's too crowded, or both. Either way, he has had bearding this time of year. We're not. So he's got bees living. It seems to me that he's got bees living longer than we have right now, and I'm wondering if it doesn't have to do with that extract. I cannot confirm or deny that, but it is an interesting, you know.
Very interesting.
So, you know, you always hear that, like, I don't know if all of you are hearing about it, but many of you either tag me in or send me videos and articles about how much bees love weed. Calm down. Like, I love that you think about me every time that you see anything about bees, but seriously, calm down. They don't love weed. They pollinate flowers. Calm down. That said, in pollinating those particular plants, they would then be receiving pollinating or, harvesting nectar or whatever. They would then be receiving a natural variety version of that extract, which they're then bringing back to the hive, which then is going. So yes, there is a use for it. But I probably get tagged in that at least 6 times a year. Calm down. All right. There's another one that people get me, like, apparently there's a bee. Have you seen this one yet, Derek? There's a video where there's a design of, like, they've got a faucet on the outside of the hive, and you can just walk up and turn the faucet on and, like, fill your jar with the flow hive. Yeah. Okay. So I keep getting tagged in the flow hive video as well. Look, I'm saying calm down and all that kind of stuff, like I want you to stop that. No. I love it. When you think, the whole reason I'm doing I definitely, it feeds my narcissism when you give me that attention. So definitely, let's keep that up. Yeah.
He said that now.
But no, I do. I love the fact that, when you see anything bee related or stinging insect related, because I get tagged in a lot of wasp stuff too, by the way. But anyway, I love the fact that you think of me, and so keep tagging me in it. The flow hive, it's a really cool concept. However, I've got to let you know that I am not into it. Like, you're never going to see it in my bee yard because I'm a bit on the old-fashioned side, maybe. But I believe that I need to be inside of my hive, not all of the time, but when I'm going to, I need to be able to do inspections. If I go in and I'm feeding or I'm doing whatever, that gives me an opportunity to put my eyes on what's going on inside the hive. If I have the faucet on the outside of my hive, I don't have any idea what's going on inside except for what I suspect by looking at the exterior of the hive as the bees are coming and going. And as you all know from having watched my videos in the past or having watched any beekeeper's videos in the past, what you think you know is going on inside that hive isn't always the case. Sometimes you open it up and you're like, what in the, because it's just not what you would expect. So I like to be inside my hive. I like to know because I can see what is happening. Derek's already moved on to hive number 4. So all we're doing is putting in the Swiffer sheets. You've seen me do that in the past. You might have seen Derek doing it with me. I never can remember which videos he's been involved in and not. But the Swiffer sheets, it's just the non-scented dry Swiffer sheets. For those of you who are beekeepers out there and you are looking for a way to combat your hive beetles, our hives are in the shade, which is, when it comes to hive beetles, kind of a big no-no. However, when it comes to 89, 90, 93 degree heat, it's a big yes. So we keep our bees in the shade, and then we just kind of bitch about, having too many hive beetles all the time. But we've got beetle blaster traps in there. What are your traps called?
I'm not sure the name of them.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, so we keep real good records.
I'm not sure the brand name on them.
But we've got a couple of different beetle trap varieties that we are utilizing throughout the hive.
$12.99 on Amazon.
What's that?
$12.99 on Amazon.
For how many?
For, I think it's 12 traps.
Oh, okay, so like $1 a piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ones we use are much cheaper than that. We get a bunch of them for a little bit. I mean, we probably spend more, but we get we spend more than $12, but we get a ton of these things.
You buy a bunch at a time.
But batches of them at a time. Now, I'm not saying don't use those. I'm just saying there are, because in several of these hives, we actually have both of those traps. And he is putting in the Swiffer sheets right now. So the Swiffer sheets are non-scented, dry. We're cutting them down, and we're placing those directly on top of the frames. The bees can walk across the Swiffer sheets. The beetles get caught up in, because they're trying to get away from the bees, so they try to dig in. Well, they get caught up, and so then they can't get out. And so that is a way that we are utilizing to try to keep our beetle trap population down. Yes?
Can you speak on this one's population? This is one that has the queen and the low brood.
You want to?
You brood. I just looked.
Okay.
I'm not seeing nowhere near as many bees in this hive as I've seen so far going.
I called that your 8-frame earlier. That's actually a 10-frame. There's your 8. Number 2 is your 8-frame. Well, but have you been using your extract in that one?
I just started putting that one back in there. We just started feeding. I hadn't fed these hives very much for a little while.
Okay.
I fed them mainly in the spring, so no.
Yeah.
They haven't took even a jar of it on
Okay. He wants to he wants to check out population on one of his hives. So earlier I told you we're not going to go in. Y'all want to join us on a hive? Let's go. All right. So I know I say that like you have a choice, but you don't technically have to watch the video, I guess. You should keep watching the video though. Don't be a loser. All right. So we're going to put this right.
I mean, I've got some of these
in their flight path. I'm going to.
I don't know. I hear more now.
You always hear more once you blow smoke. Even the honeybees don't like it when you're blowing smoke. I would prop it. No. I would prop it, lean it, simply because the queen can sometimes be on the base of your frames. Prop it on the grass, just with the corner in the grass. Or like that, yeah. Just because the queen can sometimes be on the base of your frames, and you'll then smash her. This is the absolute worst time of year. Yeah, there are multiple times during the year that it's a really bad idea to kill your queen.
Can we see brood without?
Look at him with no gloves. Even our followers are noticing your development as a beekeeper, Derek. Look at that. I didn't even notice that you didn't have gloves on. But I also haven't been picking on you today for being so suited up either. So I guess, hey, look, that's progress. You are exactly right, Alex. He does not have gloves on today. Our boy is growing.
Growing. If I regret it.
As I stand in the flight, as I stand in the flight path, drinking an energy drink and a t-shirt, but I'm also not in there pissing them off like you are right now.
Right.
You got it?
Yeah, I just want to be very careful.
Yes.
Always. Just, on the grab, just one hand on that, just so I don't want that to slip. I don't want to really clean.
All right, so Derek makes a fine point there. We have said it before, and I'm going to say it again because it is always worth.
I've got issues going on there, buddy. I'm getting chewed out for some reason.
Actually, I think I was going to point that out. I think it probably scraped at the bottom.
Okay.
So I think that was just burr comb from the next frame over.
No eggs are brood. Do you see any sign of a queen?
On this one, no. This looks like it's going to be an insulator. But this time of year, that far out, that's... Oh, sorry, girl. That's exactly what I would expect.
We got a little brood right here.
Okay, I'm going to put...
Yep, you can put it back there. Yeah. So we got pretty good population. Looks sustainable, like it doesn't need any more bees.
Well, and this time of year, I got it. A light population is still for winter a strong population. Yeah, I do see you got some capped in there. I see that they've got a lot of nectar. They just covered up, so I can't really tell if you've got egg down in there or not. But I do see pupa. These damn hive beetles. On the other side, though, a lot of larvae.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, girl.
Lots of beetles, man. There's some beetles.
Yeah, that's really frustrating. But you can also see that they're beginning to cap the nectar over here on the side. Yeah. So that's now honey. Go ahead. You got it? Okay. Anyway, so I said it before. We're going to say it again. Going to say it every single time. Alex, I'll get to that question in just a second. That's a great question. When you are removing frames, or as you can see Derek putting the frame back in now, you always want to move with purpose, but you always want to go super slow. You do not want to accidentally, you don't want to roll any of the bees, workers, drone, anything like that, although we shouldn't really have drone right now anyway. But, excuse me, you don't want to roll your workers, but you definitely don't want to roll the queen, because if she gets damaged in any way, they will determine her to be a yeah, what's up?
Should I put one sheet up down here in the bottom?
I would. I mean, yeah, I mean, we just saw beetles on the frames. You got more?
Yeah, and then I've been just folding them in half.
That's up to you. When they're folded in half like that, though, the bees will get trapped in between.
You think the bees will get trapped in between? Okay.
Yeah. Now, up top, like you had it in your on your inner covers, I wouldn't worry about. I mean, that's fine. Here, do you need another knife?
Yeah.
Hold on. Use this other knife that I also carry.
Got it.
Now, that is just because I think, you should carry a pocket knife.
That's it.
Yeah. That doesn't have anything to do with cheesecake. Okay, so the question was... Oh, anyway, so you don't want to roll your queen because she once she's damaged, they will act to replace her. The problem is this time of year, there are no drone for a new queen to mate with. So they then would end up with a virgin queen through the winter. Well, they're not going to survive. So that would spell instant death. Well, actually, unfortunately, it would spell not so instant death. It would be death. It would just take a long time of starvation. So that you want to be real careful with your queens. All right, so the question now is, why is that super dark? That is a reference to the comb on the frames that we just pulled out. So as the bees, it's most pronounced in our food and brood chambers, which is where, yes, honey is going to be stored in the food chamber, but that's honey for the bees, not honey intended for human consumption. So,
One more time, Jeff.
for what? Oh, the knife. Yeah. Here you go.
Put it on this.
So,
What? You know what? I think I can open this one all the way.
just a full one? Yeah, I would. That's fine. That's fine. Now you'll notice that you'll see later on they're going to propolize the crap out of that, and so it'll be fun to remove. But whatever. Anyway, so the bees, when they come in, they have external stuff on them, whether it's dirt or whatever, just stuff that they've picked up in their travels. And as they walk across the wax, that's one of the things that helps them with cleanliness, is that it gets picked up by that wax. When you've had that wax, now you've only been at this since April, right?
Yeah, March. Yep. Basically April. Yeah.
Man, you dirty. Why you got so much dark comb? I'm just.
Because my bees.
Yeah.
Because of the bees. Oh my God.
Yeah. But no, so they'll come in, and so residue will come off of their feet and legs and into the wax, and that's what gives it darker complexion over the course of time. That
is another thing on one of the studies I've seen with that hemp, where it said that the propolis in the hives and the wax production was actually much more efficient of the ones being fed.
Oh yeah. Oh, with the
cannon.
Go for it. You can say it.
Yeah.
Let's all cheer him on. You can say it, Derek.
Cannabinoids. I can say that word. That's a hard word.
The cannabis?
Well,
or the cannibalism. I don't, because those are two very different things.
It's the type hemp or
cannabis.
Yeah, cannabis.
Yeah, okay.
But
not cannibalism.
Yeah, no, but I think almost a lot of creatures run on an endocannabinoid system that
He can say endocannabinoid, but he couldn't say cannabis, y'all.
No, I was trying to say cannabinoid by itself, not endocannabinoid. And I don't know why I was having a hard time saying cannabinoid, but I was. So yeah.
Okay.
But anyway,
we weren't getting on each other's nerves, but he probably doesn't want to work with me again.
That was apparently just found out that humans even have that system in the 90s, so it's kind of new. But
yeah.
Anyhow. So yeah, I think the bees that were fed that, even though the bees don't have that same system, though, isn't that kind of odd? But it does seem to play a role in their health and longevity. The extract in the studies. Yeah.
The hemp extract.
In some sort. These got more of the seed extract. I extracted the copressed seed oil. So they really these got fed off the seed of the plant and not so much the plant itself.
Right. So that being said, guys, I am not advocating for the legalization of any plant that literally grows naturally without our help whatsoever and should have never received any kind of interference by the government. I am making no political statements right now about, government involving themselves in our lives when, honestly, they have no business. I didn't say any of that kind of stuff. I am just saying, if you get an opportunity to vote on that thing, just remember, save the bees.
Yeah, because I was going to say that'll open up more room for science on stuff like this, so we can see if this so colleges can get behind these studies.
Absolutely. I mean, good God, it's on every college campus anyway. Why not put it to use saving the bees?
Instead of just on like YouTube videos from people that have that access.
Make it legal so those potheads can actually be productive in life.
True story.
I'm just kidding. I know that there are productive potheads out there.
True story.
Anyway, so yeah, that's a thing. Hemp oil extract, hemp seed oil extract, that sort of thing. Apparently has, again,
more study is needed.
More study is needed. There is a research paper on it. I actually have a copy. You sent me a copy of it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a copy of it. I've perused it. I haven't read it all the way through. But honestly, I'm thinking that over winter, because it's going to be too cold for me to be going into the hives, or for us to be going into the hives, I'm thinking that over winter, what I'm going to do for these live videos is I'm probably going to start doing some beekeeper book reviews. Okay. And so maybe if you've got similar copies, maybe a couple of times we can do like conversational reviews over some books or something like that. Yeah. Why don't we, since we both definitely have a copy of that, why don't we spend the next couple of weeks, because it is a scientific paper, why don't we spend the next couple of weeks going over that particular research paper?
Okay, yeah.
And then maybe we can do a review on that on one of these Wednesdays.
And we fall back on, you had a question a while back of what, just that every, people that don't work with bees, what can they do to save the bees? Maybe we can fall back on and combine it together.
All right. Next week, I'm not going to do it today because we've already been on here for so long. Next week, one of the things that we are going to discuss, what we will discuss, our main purpose will be, what can non-beekeepers do that would be beneficial in some way, shape, or form to the honeybees, right? Because that is a big question. Actually, we get that question a lot as beekeepers. Oh man, I don't want to raise honeybees, but I wouldn't mind having flowers, or I wouldn't mind doing this, or I wouldn't mind doing that. What can I do other than raising honeybees to be supportive of the honeybees? It's a phenomenal question. There are a ton of answers to that, and we're going to go through them. One of them is buy local honey. I'm not necessarily saying buy local honey from myself or from Derek. I am saying call me to come get them. Yes, do call me to come get them. If you've got a swarm or something like that, if you've got them inside your structure, like they're inside of a wall or something,
yeah, I thought about it already.
Call me anyway. I happen to know a contractor that can fix my mess. Yeah, call me anyway.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I already
I mean, shoot, yeah. Ooh, sorry, watch your mouth. Anyway, boy, I've been cussing a lot on this video.
Watch this guy.
Yeah, YouTube, don't ban me, losers. So anyway, so there's a lot that I gotta quit. There's a lot that you can do that doesn't necessarily involve getting into raising honeybees yourself. Buy local honey. Every dime that you spend on local honey goes directly to the source, that beekeeper. Yeah. You don't have to buy it from me. If I have to mail it to you, you're not going to buy it from me because I'm not going to ship it to you. It's just, it costs too much. You wouldn't be able to afford shipping anyway. You might be able to afford shipping, but you're kind of silly to try to buy it. I mean, it's nice of you to try to want to buy my honey. But seriously, there are local beekeepers right there in your community. Find them. I'll even help you find them. Find local beekeepers, buy their honey. That's step one if you want to support honeybees. That's what you need to do first in order to do that. Yeah, and then we'll get into pesticides, neonicoticides, and all that kind of stuff. We'll get into all of that kind of stuff next Wednesday when we get together. Hey, David, what's going on, brother? You came on at the end, so congratulations on that. It's kind of like the French in World War II. It's like, hey, we're here to fix everything. You know, we couldn't fight, but we'll fix it. Whatever. Anyway, love you guys. Thanks for joining. Do not forget, head on over to YouTube, Buzz and Blossom's Bee Farm. I will post, I've got links to my YouTube. I'll post this again as a YouTube. You can follow that link on over there. Like my page, subscribe to my page. Put comments in there. I'm gonna respond to them. I may not notice them at first just because, you know, I am easily distracted. I don't know if you picked up on that or not. Also, head on over to my TikTok. That's the third video. This is the third video in a row I've mentioned my TikTok, and I still can't remember what that thing is called. I think it's just Hunsucker 77. It's my last name 77. So I think whatever. There can't be that many Justin Hunsuckers out there. Just search it. Whatever. Anyway, you guys have a great day. Derek, I appreciate it. You dropped some stuff. What were you doing before I called you? If you were doing anything worth talking about on camera.
Cutting up a tree that failed, but
okay.
Yeah,
so
I'll get to it.
I called him up and I said, hey man, I've got like this sort of semi maybe potentially interesting subject to talk about on Facebook Live. You want to stop what you're doing and come join me?
I needed to do the Swifter sheets anyway.
See, so he came and joined me. So I appreciate that. I hope you.
Beautiful day, y'all enjoy. Get out and enjoy if you can. It's
Yeah, oh gosh, it's gorgeous.
Couldn't get
Yeah,
much better.
it feels like fall today.
Yeah, and keep the intercoastal Florida in our thoughts today too, because they got hit pretty hard this morning by
Or
the
prayers.
hurricane.
If you
Thoughts
pray,
and prayers,
pray.
Both.
If you don't pray, like specifically to Jesus, ask yourself what you're doing with your life. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna have to fire myself. Y'all have a great day. Thanks for joining. We'll talk soon.